Legend of Total War here, and today we're doing another Total War Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires campaign review, this time covering Lord Skrolk. So Lord Skrolk's start position is Oixel, which is the same start position he's had in Total War Warhammer 2 in both the Vortex campaign and Mortal Empires, and you start at war with this minor lizardman faction, the Southern Sentinels. Now this is one of those starts that is most definitely a trick start. While these guys here are very easy to beat down, and taking the Sentinels of Time on turn 1 essentially completes the first province, every turn spent going south is a opportunity wasted in taking out your true enemy, which is Gorok, because Gorok is nearly impossible to kill in the early stages of the game due to the rat units being just terrible in melee and Gorok being an absolute god. You need things like rattling guns and Jezzails in order to kill Gorok, but you're not going to have access to them early. Now, one thing that you can do to deal with Gorok is deal with him as early as possible so that at least he doesn't have much of an army backing him. So instead of attacking these guys here, this is what I recommend you do. Take Lord Skrolk and immediately move up to here. Don't fight that army there. You need every bit of movement you've got, and these guys here aren't going to pursue you. These guys here are nowhere near as aggressive as Lizardman factions. They shouldn't be your priority. The major Lizardman factions, that is. So come over here and recruit a bunch of clan rats. It doesn't really matter what you recruit as long as you're comfortable with it. Just recruit as many units as you can. And then in the settlement here, recruit a lord, recruit an assassin lord. Don't forget to as well to attach this hero into the army. Then on turn 2, go to war with the Pallid Nurzlings and occupy the settlement. You can actually negotiate with Gorok to join that war, and he'll give you about 400 gold. And yeah, occupy that settlement and then recruit another assassin lord from here, and then of course bring the other assassin lord up. So you've got 2 assassin lords in this area here. Also recruit as much as you can with Skrolk on this turn. Now you should have almost a full stack with Lord Skrolk at this point. Then on turn 3, launch the attack on Itza. Gorok should be sitting at Jodl still, and they should have recruited a Kroxigor lord with no units, but he will be recruiting. So attacking the settlement here can stop them from recruiting more troops. Now, the main reason why you want to do this is because that's where the Saurus warriors are recruited from. Once you've captured that settlement, Gorok is not going to be able to finish his recruitment of Saurus warriors. That's going to seriously reduce his army size. It should be around 12, but your army should be about 19, so it's much larger. So in this fight here, you really don't want to take too many casualties so that you're ready to deal with Gorok the very next turn. Now, the way to do that is with the 2 assassin lords. See, they can sneak in because they've got Stalker by default, and you can go and try to capture the main capture point and try to win the battle with 0 casualties. Now, the chances of that actually working is fairly low because they've got some fairly fast units in the garrison there, but the silver lining of doing this is to draw as many forces as you can away from the walls so that you can launch an attack on like a weakened defenses, stretch their forces as thin as possible so you're not fighting their entire garrison all at once, just little bits at a time, allowing your superior numbers to actually mean something in that case, because their forces are stronger than yours. So if you can manage to win that with minimal casualties, then on that turn as well, recruit another assassin lord, because you're going to need them in order to fight Gorok. They're your best bet in order to actually manually resolve and fight that dude if you have to. But if you can manage to defeat Gorok by like turn 4 or 5, you are going to be in a much better position than if you go and fight these guys here, because it only takes a few turns for the major Lizardman factions to build up massive armies, and you just don't have quality on your side. So that's my recommendation, but you don't have to do that. It's entirely up to you. Right, now let's talk about Lord Skrolk himself. So his trait is Plague Lord, which provides +3 Skaven corruption in the local province, and reduced upkeep cost for Plague Monks and Censer Bearers, and Plague Claw Catapults and Plague Priests, which he's one of the only lords in the game that actually provides reduced upkeep cost for a specific type of hero. So those are all pretty good units, especially the Plague Claw Catapults and Plague Priests, so that's a really good trait there, especially 50% reduced upkeep cost on them. Now, if we have a look at his unique skills here, he's got a really meaty skill tree, but most of it isn't unique stuff. He's got a generic blue line, generic red line, generic Plague caster line, but you can boost it a bit with his items, which we'll get into a bit. He's also got a generic melee line. He's got so many damn skills, but his unique skills are Loathsome Appearance, which provides terror, which I don't think is very valuable. I don't usually get that. 2 points into Plague Lord allows you to recruit Plague Priests all provinces. Hero capacity +2 for Plague Priests and Eshin Sorcerers, Hero Recruit rank for Plague Priests, Recruit rank for Plague Monks and Plague Claw Catapults for the Lord's Army, and additional reduced upkeep costs for Plague Monks and Plague Claw Catapults. That's a really good unique trait there, unique skill. Then you've got Herald of Decay, which reduces control local enemy province and increase Skaven corruption in your local province. I don't think that's very useful. As I've said before, reducing enemy controls is not useful, especially on higher difficulties. And then he's also got Aura of Pestilence here, which provides a melee attack debuff in a local area, essentially giving him the Glittering Scales. Now if we have a look at his equipment, he's got the Liber Bubionicus, which provides hero recruit rank +4 for Plague Priests, all provinces. Skaven Corruption +3 local province. Right cost reduction for the Pestilence scheme. That's the one for the Plague spreaders. Winds of Magic cost -2 for Plague and upgraded. That's really good. That makes him the best Plague caster in the Skaven roster. And then give him the Liber Bubonica skill, which is basically a direct damage sort of Spirit Leech, which you can use twice without costing Winds of Magic. Then he's got the Rod of Corruption, giving you extra capacity for Plague Priests and Eshin Sorcerers, melee attack +6, weapon strength 10%, Winds of Magic cost reduction for Wither, and the Rod of Corruption ability, which acts as like a Mortis Engine effect, which is pretty damn damaging, but you get 3 uses out of it. Then you've got the set bonus, which provides control +1 all provinces and chance of a plague spreading +50% for all armies faction wide. So that's pretty good. Overall, I think that Skrolk is a really good legendary lord in a really tough starting position. Now, if we have a look at his faction effects, we got chance of plague spreading +100%. Plagues bolster your forces and nurture your settlements, so you actually want to get he's kind of like a Skaven version of Nurgle, except kind of better than Nurgle, because the Skaven Plagues provide you with kind of more benefits. And then you've got construction cost reduction for Pox Cauldron, Pestilent Nave, and Plague Bailey buildings, and the right cooldown -15 turns for Pestilent Skin. So if we have a look at that, once again, the Skaven appear to have the same issue with that the Tomb Kings have. This might actually be a case for all Warhammer 2 factions. All of their rights are just available right from the get-go, right from turn 1. So the Pestilence scheme, getting that once every 15 turns is so much better than, once every 30 turns, because you want to be spreading those plagues. Now, there is another little thing with Clan Pestilence. Now, if you are lactose intolerant, turn off the video now. You've watched it all. If you're a Creative Assembly employee, turn off the video. You don't need to see this. It's okay. Just don't worry about it. It's not important. But if you're neither of those two, prepare to have your cheese meter hit its maximum. Clan Pestilence currently has one of the best cheeses in the game, and this cheese can be transferred over to other Skaven characters, but you have to start this with Clan Pestilence. So, if you go to your Recruit Lord, and then go to a Warlord here, you'll see that there is a Warlord without a trait called Ian Roxborough. Now, if you recruit this Lord, and have a look at his trait, it's called Brutally Honest, which provides income from salvage buildings +25% faction-wide, right? So what that is, if we have a look at buildings, that is this building here providing an extra 25%. So at max level, that's providing an extra 40 gold, faction-wide. Now, here's the real kicker. This character here is not a legendary character, which means he can be saved. Which means you can load him up multiple times in a campaign, as many times as you want, as many times as you've saved him, to infinitely keep increasing your income, to compound your interest to the same extent that Entrepreneur used to do for the High Elves in Warhammer 2, except the fact that you're not limited to how many of these guys you can recruit, and you're not limited by an army capacity. You can recruit multiple of these guys every turn as long as you've got multiple provinces, and just keep like massively increasing the income of your scrap heaps. Now, at the earlier part of the campaign, this isn't going to make that big of a difference, but when you've got just a couple of these scrap heaps, and each of them are providing an extra 40 gold each, and each of these guys doing that effect, which they don't have to be active in order for this to work, you can disband him. You can just have essentially an infinite amount of gold, okay? So that is a game-breaking degree cheese, which I'm not necessarily endorsing, I'm just letting you know about it. Anyway, that's the end of this one here, guys. Overall, I highly recommend Clan Pestilence. Giving out, it's definitely a challenging campaign, so I think this is one of those campaigns that you should play on higher difficulties to really get the full experience of it. It's entirely up to you if you want to do that as well. But yeah, this is a fun campaign, very challenging. That's the end of this one here, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think of Lord Skrolk. Appreciate you guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Later, guys.